35 megabits per second super fast internet, 70 TV channels with HD entertainment, and free landline minutes with the all-in bundle. Visit your nearest Flow store to sign up for a triple play bundle. Conditions apply.
Feel the magic happening.
Campari.
Taste. Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
Morning to listeners and viewers out there in radio land and internet world. You're logged on to Voices 98.9 on the FM dial, and it's another episode of Voices. It's the 25th day of October. Yes, we're zooming down to the end of 2021, and lots of great things are happening within the Federation around the globe. Here in SKN, we're just chilling. Within the studio with us this morning, we have a certified marriage coach, certified transformational solution focused life coach. And she has helped hundreds of people repair and rebuild their relationships, marriage, and life, teaching them how to rapidly heal. That's a stretch for me. But of course, you're the coach, the professional. And we got with us in studio Mrs. Patrice Offrey. And she's here to speak about her recently released book entitled Making It Work After an Affair. This is going to be interesting because a lot of us are not equipped with coping with these situations. We think we are until we drop into it. And then sometimes things end quite badly for us. So we need as many persons with expertise, as you indicated, you're speaking from your own experience. And that's one of the biggest teachers that we could ever encounter. So without further ado, and with a drum roll, I'm going to welcome to the microphone Lady Patrice Offrey to introduce herself officially to this particular audience and let us know who you are, your claim to fame, and what your book is all about. So the microphone is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, King Socrates. Thank you so much for having me on your show this morning.
It's a pleasure.
It is great to be here this morning. As you said, I am Patrice Offrey. I am a certified life and relationship coach. That's my passion. I love it. I love. I love helping persons to rebuild and repair their relationships. So the book the name basically says it's Making It Work After an Affair. It's basically how to self-heal, how to bring healing to yourself after you've experienced an affair, how to restore the joy and happiness and trust in your relationship after an affair, and how to restructure it so that in the future it can withstand any storm.
Okay. I normally engage a very personable engineer in the conversation, so she's listening. At some point, I'm going to ask her input. But an affair, it says an affair.
Yeah.
It would mean that you are in a relationship.
Yes.
And then something happened outside, say marriage, outside, that's referred to as an affair, because an affair can be, we have an affair down, a little back on that list.
Yeah, you have emotional affair, different types of affair, but this one is in particular to sexual affair, when you go and have sex with someone outside of your relationship.
Okay.
Without, that is outside the lines of the rules of the relationships.
In short terms, we call it horn.
Horn? I've never heard that.
Never heard that? Okay, you are not from the Caribbean?
Yeah, I'm from the Caribbean. I grew up in St. Kitts.
And you never heard the phrase horn?
No, I've never heard horn. But now
what about boot?
But no, I think those are much more mature terms.
It's commonly referred to when somebody cheats on you. They say they haunt you. There are many songs about that.
Oh, well,
Some very humorous and some,
a song
you know.
is now coming back to me. Like, she give me a hand. Something. Oh, that's. I always wonder.
So you did know.
I always wonder. I always wonder what the singer meant when they said that.
So
oh
I mean,
my
the
God.
next chapter
Yes.
of your book, you can just on.
That will be in part 2. That will be in part 2 of the
Okay.
book. Oh my goodness, I learned something new today.
Imagine that.
Yes.
Anyway,
yes.
so as I said, the microphone is yours. You've introduced yourself. Speak about your book, your some highlights, and just educate us, please. So it's yours.
Okay, so one of the things that I realized, what inspired me to write this book is I mentor a lot of ladies, whether they're single or they're married, and one of the main issues with them in relationship is that of an affair, and it does have a very negative impact upon them mentally and emotionally. And you know, most times you will hear of an affair, you would think that someone wants to leave, but they want to remain in that relationship. They still want to be in that relationship for whatever reason that is personal to them. They're not yet ready to walk away, whether it's for financial purposes or they feel like they've invested their emotions in it, or you know, they love the person. Most times it's because they said they love the person, but they're so engulfed in pain that even though they want to remain in the relationship, their pain is dictating their actions, and as such the relationship is deteriorating and it's only becoming worse. So I also experience infidelity. I'm sure most persons in life at one point or the other have experienced it. And it takes you to a very dark place. And most times you don't have persons around you, whether it's friends, giving you profitable wisdom as to how do you do these things, because there's still a stigma on cheating. Most persons wouldn't want to share what they've been through with you. They would try to hide it and say, well, you know, my husband never cheated on me or anything of such sort. We've never experienced anything of such sort. They're not really willing to give that advice freely. And then most persons, we have a stigma on going to counseling or getting a coach to guide you along the way. And I became a life coach on my journey of healing, because I am the type of person, I have to go to the source. Even if I buy a phone or a machine, the first thing I need to do is take out the manual.
Okay.
So I was like, I need to get to the source of the information, because nothing was working for me. Counseling wasn't working for me. Speaking to persons who have experienced such wasn't working for me. So I had to go to the source of learning to get the information from. So that is how I became.
Or is there a manual?
Well, you know, the manual is school. I call school
You
the
say
manual.
a source of going to get the information.
Yeah, so
something is a manual, because this is a global.
Yeah, well, to me, school is a manual. And, you know, school is a manual because there you get the points as to how you get things. You can better understand why someone did something. You can better understand why are you feeling this way and how I can overcome it step by step. Because I think I am that kind of chronological person. I need step by step, like this is what you do and then you move on to the next thing. So that's how my brain processes things. And that is how I put the information in the book. I teach you how to deal with triggers, because that is very important on the healing journey and rebuilding back your relationship, is dealing with triggers, because you can forgive that person, but then one thing happened and then you're triggered by the incidents. It's something like PTSD, and we have to learn to deal with our triggers. So that is something that I speak about in depth in the book, about dealing with triggers, because that's very important as to how you manage your triggers.
And this is case by case by case.
Well, I use my personal experience to bring over the information, because when you're going through such emotional and tragic event, it is good when you have someone who you can relate to. You know that this person has been through what I've been through. Like no makeup stories or no nothing. It's like this person see me, they feel me, they understand what I'm saying.
So when you say to somebody, I feel your pain, because that's a very common phrase, like, when people are in distress, I feel your pain, and I have not a clue. So
when in this one, when you said I feel your pain, I feel your pain. I know what you've been through, because I've been there.
Done that.
Been there, done that.
What the t-shirts? Not what you tell anymore.
Yes, been there, done that. So, and when you're going through that time, you need someone who understands what you're going through, because that in itself will also motivate you, because you're saying that this person has walked through this storm, this person has walked through this fire and have survived
and can be an inspiration.
Yes, and their relationship is even much more healthy and stronger than what it was before. So it gives them that strength to fight and to push on.
This is excellent. As we're speaking to someone who have actually lived it, as you said, you're speaking from your own life's experience.
Yes.
Well, good morning to the many folks out there listening, some of our regular fans. We're talking to Brenda O'Neill up there in the U.S. We've got Rosemary Donalds. We've got in Georgia, well, I call it Atlanta, sorry. Jennifer Richards. We have Amber Lewis over there in Anguilla. We got Mr. Peter Ngunjuri here in St. Kitts. And tons of other folks. I hope Sister Henry can call and give us some insight on this. Let's get you next 5 minutes of, explaining more about the book, and then we'll pause for a word from our sponsors, okay? So the mic is yours still.
Okay, and one of the other areas that I touch on in the book, and this is something that we deal with a lot when we're going through infidelity, and I think that is where it all leads to, is the battle of the thoughts, the negative thoughts. That is where it starts in the mind, because we are then bombarded with these thoughts. When the person is not with us, we're thinking that, oh my God, he's probably talking to her, or she's probably talking to him, whatever it is. You're thinking that you don't feel secure and safe anymore. You don't know whether to believe what they're saying. You don't know what is truth from lies. And as such, you start making decisions on those false information. So, and that is what fear is. False information appearing real. False information appearing real. So you start making decisions based on those false information. And as such, if I come and then you start accusing the person who has done the act, and then that would also push them away, because one, they're feeling guilty about what they have done, because we never stop to think about what the cheater is feeling, what was going on with them at that moment. All we're doing is being consumed with our own pain and being consumed with our own shame and all of those emotions that are going on, and we never really give thought to what that person is going on. And the more you start making decisions on those false information, is the more the relationship deteriorates and fall apart. Because one of the things that I would realize that a lot of person, because I speak to a lot of men, it's so funny that the things men tell me
I wanted to get to that too.
The things men tell me, and I had he was actually a husband, and he was like, I love my wife, but I don't like to go home to her. And she always thinks I'm with the other woman and I'm not with her. And I was like, why don't you want to go home to her? And he was like, because it is always an argument. It is always accusing me of something that I'm not doing. The atmosphere is very, very negative. And I remember when I was going through that, my husband did say the same thing to me in counseling, is that he doesn't want to come home because it's always an argument. It is always something negative. And that is because our thoughts have been plagued with this negativity. And then also you have social media, your friends, and all of these other persons who are giving you those things. So one of the things, the strategies that I use in the book, and that was very, very helpful to me and that journey, and that I also give to my clients, is that of meditation. And that is why I love meditation, because it teaches you how to control your thoughts. It teaches you how to take an inventory of your thoughts, how to take profitable thoughts from wasteful thoughts, and it's not everything that comes into your mind means that you need to think upon it. I thought maybe act upon it, or even think upon it even more, because sometimes a thought will just come, you don't even know, and sometimes thoughts are influenced by what you see, what you hear, and these different types of things, and then you will stay there, and then that one thought, you'll be thinking, okay, then he gone to the bathroom, he's staying in the bathroom 2 minutes extra long. You'll be thinking he in there on the phone talking to the girl, and then that then translate onto something else, and then bam, you're in a whole emotional turmoil. He come out, you're accusing him to being in the bathroom talking on the phone. Everything was happy, and then it's all it's all falling down pat. So once we can gain control of our thoughts, we can definitely gain control of our life, and definitely be in a place of rebuilding and having healthy relationships.
And all of this is related in the book? Is
All of this,
explained?
everything that I'm speaking about is in the book.
Okay.
Everything, making it work after an affair.
After an affair.
Yes, and it's available on Amazon, paperback version or Kindle version. But if they're on the island of St. Kitts, they can contact me and can buy it directly from me. I'm currently out, but I should get back some copies
Okay,
in
we'll
the
be able
middle
to
of
share
November.
information before the day is done, so they can
Yeah.
contact you. But in the meantime, we're going to have the very personable engineer take us to a word from our sponsors.
Okay.
Fruta, taste the real Fruta, enjoy the real Fruta, refreshing juice of every day. Whoa, Fruta, drink the real Fruta, your favorite Fruta, the natural taste is Fruta. Fruta.
Your favorite fruit has got a new skin with real juice within. Drink the real Fruta. Enjoy the real joy.
Taste the real Fruta, enjoy the real Fruta, refreshing juice of every day is Fruta.
Fruta, juiced right.
Triple the joy at home as you elevate your experience with Flo's new Triple Play bundles. For the first time ever, bundle up and save on internet, TV, and home phone together for more satisfaction. For as low as $175, enjoy up to 35 megabits per second super fast internet, 70 TV channels with HD entertainment, and free landline minutes with the all-in bundle. Visit your nearest Flo store to sign up for a Triple Play bundle. Conditions apply.
Back with Voices today. We're in the studio with Miss Patrice Offray, an author, and according to her book, she is a certified marriage coach, a certified transformational solution-focused life coach, and she's speaking to us from her own personal experience of the book called Making It Work After an Affair. If you're just joining us, we had very, very interesting conversation up in Salvos, and it's very, very, very interesting. You spoke about how you can relate to persons because you would have lived it, and you can better guide them. And let's see if we can take a call from the public, see if we're on the same topic. Good day, caller, 11 Voices.
Hey, good morning, King. How are you doing?
Not bad for an old man yourself.
Oh, so far so good, but you have loose transmission and the northern side of St. Kitts, so I have to engineer to get that somewhat organized.
Okay, the information was presented to the folks who know, and they should be addressing it ASAP. Thank you for that
However, I
information.
want to congratulate the young lady in putting out a book
Yes.
and concerning the issues that are facing most and many of our people. And I just want to say thank you and congratulations. It's in order.
And
thing is,
we'll share the information where you can get your book, your copy, okay?
All right, I'm sure should be interested in reading, but at the same time, one life experience most of the time normally helps to guide you through life to see other things, and you could see through the windows of others who see it differently to you, or maybe the same thing.
That is correct.
But the thing is, what I'm looking for is that in the real key of every relationship, business, friendship, pleasure, is communication. Communication. And we very well know if communication breaks down, that is where everything falls apart. And one always feel like if one is not communicating to you, then truly they are probably communicating to someone else.
An
And
assumption?
the things that you should know, someone else is telling you when the person should be consulting you.
They've got your ear.
Well, they're talking to somebody else instead of you. And so therefore, you're going to feel betrayed.
And
And the other things that we have to remember, 1 ounce of doubt can destroy 10 pounds of cure.
That's a notorious, but I love it.
Just doubt, one little doubt. All the trust and everything have gone through the window with that little that. It's just like dropping some oil in milk, something smutty in milk. It can dilute and pollute the whole system. So you have to be transparent, have an open communication, and sometimes if you don't do that, you probably get in trouble. Sometimes if you do that, you still get in trouble. But at the same time, you have to build trust, because trust is one of the main things, and communication is the key.
Correct.
And the tenor of voice, the way you speak to someone, the level, the way you shout. I mean, to me, one of the things that I noticed, I'm not going to hold you back too long, but one of the main things that I noticed is that we have a tendency to curve our tongue, choose our words when we are employed under the supervision of a manager, a boss, who we think or we feel like can fire us. But when it comes to someone who we are in a relationship with, we don't choose our words carefully when that is the moment and the time we should. Because we know that you spend more time in your workplace, but those who you live with, you got to choose how you speak to them and the way you speak to them and what you say and how you say. Because words that are spoken cannot be taken back. It's like a spent bullet. When it's gone, you say you're sorry, but people may forget the things you do, but they don't forget the things you say.
Quite so.
I came from the industry of trade, whereas you have the tourism industry. And what we always say, never insult or embarrass a guest or a potential guest. And everyone is a potential customer, a potential guest. So choose your words carefully. Don't insult, don't embarrass them, because tomorrow they could be paying your bills. So one should calculate the odds when you're in a relationship. Choose what you're going to say. Make sure you say it properly. And if you say it poorly, apologize and move on. But if you make the mistake several times, you know you cannot come back with the same thing again, because somebody is going to say you're willful. I thank you very much for introducing your book, and I want to say congratulations is in order, and I look forward for somewhat reading it. Should be interesting. So I'm not going to take up any more of your time. Continue, sell the book. Have a good day. Thank you, King.
And thank you very much for your input. One of the things that came to mind when you were speaking is the fact that we have the young lady who have seen the need for this. We're not a people who readily turn to counseling.
No, we're not. No.
And so you're offering to some degree. Okay, let's go back to the public. Take a call from public. Could they call your Live on Voices?
Yes, Socrates.
Morning,
I
madam.
agree with what your guest is saying. She's very sincere and deep.
Correct.
But I wanted to emphasize in all her teaching the importance of self-esteem and self-respect and respect for others. That is sadly lacking in most society. People have no respect for nobody, nor themselves. And there's also some other thing is what the gentleman said. Trust, true love, and communication and mutual understanding. These are sadly lacking in every society. We have a problem in the world today with those things. We have a lot of things called lusting. You're looking at a woman, she look good, and you just lust. You get married to her, and then two years time you're down the road.
I wrote a song some years ago and I got bashed for it. Remember the song?
Another thing you must have is grounded in spirituality.
Yes.
Get grounded in spirituality and develop good morals. A lot society is going haywire with these qualities. Good morals, self-respect, self-esteem, true love, trust for yourself, trust your partner, good communication, and true love. I wanted to emphasize those things.
Okay, I'll let us speak to it. You heard the gentleman, so if you want to speak to his point of view, the mic is yours.
Yes, well, I do agree with him, and some of the points that he touched on is actually in the book. So that of self-respect and that of how you speak to someone, because and we were speaking about this off when we were doing commercial and about how we express ourselves. One of the things in our culture and the home that I grew up in, my auntie was the boss. I call her the boss of the house. You know, she's galant. That's my aunt. And she would express herself unedited to her boyfriend. It doesn't matter how she feels. You get it in the raw form. And I was like that for years, and it was accepted in all of my relationships until I met my husband, because he's of a different culture and of a different household.
A different culture.
A different
You come to
culture.
that, I understand
And yes, and also not even also a different culture, but also a different household. Like we were total opposite. In his house, they would never express themselves in such unedited way. You always think before you speak. You always be respectful to each other. So when I came along and I'm expressing myself to him, that really had a negative impact on him. That really damage his self-esteem because of the things that I would say. Because when we say it to men, when we let our tongue out, we unleash.
Bacchanal.
We unleash. We come in for blood. And I said those things. And one of the things in our culture, when I was going through that, and also realized working with other women, is that we put all of the blame on the cheater. We are never told to take a minute and look at yourself. How did you contribute to this? Even if you didn't contribute to the actual act of them going out and cheating, but how are you contributing to how you're responding to the situation? How are you contributing to healing and rebuilding the situation? Because once you decide you are going to stay in that relationship after they have cheated, you have a responsibility to make sure that that relationship works. You have a responsibility to make sure that the relationship comes back and is healthy and strong. And we are always taught the opposite. It's the other person's way of doing things. So we have, in this journey, this journey, it took me, and I had to look at myself and see those things about me that needed changing. My mindset needed changing. The way that I would always view things was very negative. My approach and the way that I would express myself, not just to my husband, but to others, had to change because, like I said, I grew up with a very fiery woman, and I always thought that was the way to be.
Way forward.
Yes, because I saw my mother, I grew up with my aunt most of the time, and my mother, she's a little bit more reserved and don't express herself. And as such, you would realize that, as we call it in St. Kitts, most persons would walk over her, or she would get very negative treatment from men. And I tell myself, I will never be like that. I will be like my aunt, because no man.
So she was the example that you would not be.
Yes, she was the example that I will not be. Not realizing that I should have found a medium between my aunt and her, because just following my aunt outright was.
The beautiful thing about it, you had time to reflect. You had occasion in your life that pause. I gave you pause, and you had comparisons.
Yes.
Let me read a little excerpt here.
Oh, okay. You found some. Okay.
Many of us are guilty of saying things out of anger.
Yes.
And then we suffer the consequences later. I have come to learn that we should always be overly cautious of the way we express ourselves, because words are the greatest form of weapon. There is in the word. This is about what we're talking about.
Yes.
So it is covered in the book.
It's in the book.
And the beautiful thing about it and this situation is that you were one who were able to take pause, reflect, and say,
Yes.
this marriage will survive, but there has to be sacrifices. I'm going to take the lead.
Yes.
But first you recognize your faults.
Yes.
Well, you didn't really project them on your partner.
But at first I was projecting them onto him. But then because like I said, when you're going through that and how you've been programmed, I was put into a place I've never been before. I call it the sunken place. It's a place where you're just, every day it's just like pain, emotional pain. It's just negative thoughts. It's like you're in torment. It's literally like what they call hell. And I said to myself, I can no longer live like this. And I want my marriage to work, and I want to be a better person. And I thought that for my marriage to work, that my husband needed changing. I thought he needed to stop, he had stopped what he's doing, but I thought that he needed to make sure that I was okay. He needed to serve me like a queen and make sure that I was okay, because he was the one who stepped out of the marriage.
So
and when I started,
Make him want to do something.
Yeah, when I started the journey, I realized that no, you are responsible for your own healing. You have to do what it takes to make sure that you heal. You are responsible for your actions. We are responsible for everything that happens in our life. If you slap me, I am responsible for the way that I
You
react to
respond.
that slap that you give me. I can walk away, I can get upset and slap you back. But at the end of the day, I am responsible for my actions. And that is what I speak a lot on the book about introspection, about taking responsibility for your actions. And because when we can take responsibility for our actions, we can see where we need improving and become a better and stronger version of ourselves. Because when you give that power to somebody else, you're saying, oh, nothing is wrong with me, I am perfect. And I see this with a lot of young ladies. I have some persons, they would come and they would think that I would say, hey, is the cheater, when they're coming for counseling, it's the cheater who is a problem. And I would turn to them and say, let's look at you. Because I like to work with persons one-on-one and then together, because first I believe in making sure that you are the best you, so that you can be the best husband or wife to your spouse. So we cannot do that until we are the best version of ourselves.
Since the Christianity road was not giving me the desired results, I turned towards another pathway. I sought advice from persons who had been married for years and were able to overcome infidelity and thereafter enjoy a healthy relationship. They advised me to pick my battles with my husband, observe more, and speak less. Most of them said, let go of the past. So you really been on a journey.
I went on a journey because I was determined, because I speak about this in the book, and I made a personal vow to myself when I get married that I would do all in my power to make sure that my marriage worked before I walk away. Because I know that in any relationship you have ups and downs. I wasn't prepared for this one. I wasn't prepared for that one, but I was just on a journey of becoming a better version of myself, because then I realized that there were things about me and my attitude about me that needed changing, that needed improving upon. And that was not only affecting my relationship with my husband, but it was also, my attitude was also affecting other relationships in my life with family members and some persons. So I always tell persons when they come to me, if I can change, you can change.
You spoke about speaking to other persons, young ladies, etc. Where are these forums?
Well, it's usually one-on-one.
One-on-one?
Yes, one-on-one. Whether it's in person or virtually done, it's usually one-on-one. But since we're speaking about helping others, I want to mention an initiative that I launched with the book. And this is something that it's called Ofre Building Her Global Initiative. And it's about connecting women who have become broken and hurt from a relationship that has ended or a relationship that they're presently in. We connect them with coaches, and it's a global thing all over the world. We connect them with coaches, and they will get the professional tips and tools that they need to heal. We will also have free webinars for them and have morning commentaries that they can listen to, because I believe that what we listen to in the morning will definitely have an impact on our day and have an impact on how the decisions we make throughout the day. So we've connected with coaches all over the world. We have coaches in Gambia, in Nigeria, in the US, in Canada, in Mexico, in Germany.
Really?
Yeah. And this was, I launched this with my book, because when I was doing the book launch, I said, God, I want to do more. I want to be able to, I'm giving my book, I'm writing, I'm helping persons, but how I want to be of a much more greater impact, and what can I do? And he was like, well, you're already doing it, but just do it on a bigger scale, because outside of this, I tend to work with persons one-on-one sometimes outside of my coaching business and those type of things, giving them advice and the tips and the tools that they need. Because some people, they're willing and ready to do the work. They just need a little steering.
Motivation.
Yes, a little motivation. So I everything just aligned. I asked for coaches to come on board, and they said yes. And so they just need to go to it's going to be up on my website and our LinkedIn page. They just apply, and once they apply, then we reach out to them and match them with a coach or a counselor who is best for them.
Any such like programs for men?
That's a question that I was asking. We are a new initiative, and in the future we're hoping that we branch off to that, because
Please.
it's all we would branch off to that. So persons have been asking for my husband to write a book also for helping men, and I was telling him, well, when you launch your book, then you can do that. But
Okay, before we go to the next break, I'm going to ask a question. Perception. The perception is global, and is that West Indian men. Okay, let's take this caller before I get into that. Caller, you're live on Voices. Welcome to the program.
Yes. Back again.
Yes, sir.
Before the lady leaves, I wanted to mention particularly people who are aspiring to high political office to lead country should lead by example. The young men must have something to look up to. Get married and settle down and have a family. We talk a lot about family life, building family life. And I think that is very important.
Okay.
You cannot have people in office going out to represent the country with their two hands to the side. Look at the other people in the big countries. We don't have that. We have to get things right in the Caribbean countries. With most of our politicians who want to live free, up and down the place.
Got your point. I'll let you speak to that. And thank you for your point of view and your contribution. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to let you mull over the question, and then we take the commercial break. Yeah, the image of the West Indian male is not very
no,
becoming.
no, it's not.
We're told that we are womanizers,
Yes.
generally acceptance, etc., etc. I want you to speak to that if you know the origins, because I'm thinking there's a conversation that needs to be had that we've never had as to why there is a foundation for that. And we so you like to blame everything on this and that, but there's a foundation for that. But we've never had as a people have that conversation as to why. So therefore we can't address the change until we identify and recognize what causes that. So we go to a word from our sponsors, and we come back, and you should be able to give us some insight, hopefully.
Okay.
Triple the joy at home as you elevate your experience with Flo's new triple play bundles. For the first time ever, bundle up and save on internet, TV, and home phone together for more satisfaction. For as low as $175, enjoy up to 35 megabits per second super fast internet, 70 TV channels with HD entertainment, and free landline minutes with the all-in bundle. Visit your nearest Flo store to sign up for a triple play bundle. Conditions apply.
Dishes done, you're smiling. Pump it up with quick. Keep pumping. Pump it up some more. Pump it up. Grease is gone for sure. Pump it up. All your dishes fixed. Pump it up. Pump it up with quick. I don't want a dirty sink. Keep pumping up with quicks now. Clean that sink. Pump it up some more. Pump it up. Grease is gone for sure. Pump it up. All your dishes fixed. Pump it up. Pump it up with quick. Pump it up.
By the way, welcome our listeners and viewers back to the program. And before you'll get beaten up, let me say Happy birthday to my granddaughter, 5-year-old Cleo over there in Anguilla. This morning I had to sing the song, Happy Birthday to you, and she was, thank you, Grandpa. So, Cleo, once again, live on radio, because mother just text me, make sure it's happy birthday. So, happy birthday, Cleo. Now, I'm going to call her Doc.
Happy birthday, Cleo. You're going to call me Doc?
Yeah, back to you, Doc.
Thank you. Okay. I've always wanted to be a doctor.
Let's go, Doc. Yes,
So we were speaking about the origin. And if we look at it, polygamy and those things, they go way back to Bible days because we base our life off of the Bible, and we tend to forget that polygamy was very much practiced throughout all these times, and it has been passed down from generation to generation. But it's now in this modern time where we're saying that polygamy is no longer acceptable. Yes, I think the thing about infidelity is that of the lying and the betrayal and the sneaking around of it, because
having made a vow.
And yes, and because you and I, we've had expectations. You've said that you want to forsake all other women. And even though sometimes, you know what, when I was thinking about it the other day, and automatically we assume that we're in a monogamous relationship, but we've never really sit down to discuss, do you want to be in a monogamous relationship or you want to be in another relationship?
Shout it over there, yes.
That is automatically, it's automatically assumed. It's just automatically assumed that we're in a monogamous relationship, rather than we've sit down and said, do you want to see other people? And I'm not talking about marriage, because when you're married, you make that vow forsaking all other persons, but I'm talking before the marriage. And what really hurts more with infidelity is the lie that the man or the woman would have to tell to cover up their tracks, so that they don't keep getting caught and making the other person feel as though they're going crazy and all of these. And what goes on in the other person's mind is that I've lost. He's going to leave me. She's going to leave me. Somebody else have a win. So it's that thought that goes on. And then with the man of them becoming womanizing, you have your main woman, you cheat on her, she's emotionally hurt, she has not healed. The atmosphere at home is negative. From the side chick, you have the side chick, you've been over there telling the side chick whatever you're telling her, probably telling her you're leaving your wife or whatever the story is. Energy, atmosphere is toxic. You move on to the next thing you like to see. You have to now start lying to this side chick about this second side chick, and then the lies just continue, and the betrayal and the hurt and all of these things, it continue and it continues and it continues. And at the end of the day, he wants to be with the main he wants to be with the main woman. I had a man message me the other day asking me how he can get his woman back because after 20 years she's tired of him. She's tired of his ways, she's tired of his lying. And
he wants to get her back.
He wants to get her back, or he was like, she's
an
done.
Object?
She's
property?
That's a conversation for another day that we have to speak about, because on my healing journey, that is what also I learned, that because we like to say that's my husband or my wife, you think that you have some kind of ownership rights to them, and you don't. You don't, but that's a conversation for another day.
I would love to get into that.
Yes. So after so many years of mistreating her and having plenty of women, he now wants her back, and she's like, I am done. But I always said, if men can just be honest with what they want, or women, because I always say women cheat too. They just don't get caught most times.
You see, are they smarter than us? We get caught because we figure we have braggadocio, we're man, it's expected. But unless I don't want to go down that road, but it's smarter than us.
Just be honest. I always said one of the key success to relationship is honesty. Just be honest about what you want. Make your intentions clear. And I always say, if someone is honest with you, the way you respond to it, that is upon you, because I've come to you and I am honest and I am here willing and ready to work out a plan and to move forward. So you can, okay.
Take the call.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, caller. You're on Voices.
Chris, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing good. And you?
You know this voice?
No.
All I gotta say is Pina Colada ice cream. You should know who this is.
Oh, hi. Okay. Is this my new friend from last week?
Your new friend, Pina Colada.
With the
Ice cream.
Oh, pina colada ice cream. Hi, E. How are you? I was thinking I met this person. He was selling a sour pina colada kind of drink thingy. So yeah.
No. Hey, good show. What I want you to do, you have 4 reviews on Amazon. 3 reviews. Read out some of them now. Let people know what people are thinking from the outside in, so it's not just you saying it's a good book.
Okay, that's a very good suggestion, E. We'll do that.
You want me to send them to you, or you gonna find
I
them?
have them. I'll go on it right now.
Okay, that's it.
That's an awesome contribution. So you call it doc and you say you want to be doc, but you got reviews out there that people like to
Yes.
hear. I believe any relationship can survive the greatest storm. One of the main contributing factors of a failed relationship is expectations. Have you found your reviews too? I'm just reading in the meantime.
Yeah, the reviews are there.
Okay, you ready to read the reviews?
Okay, yes. So this is one of the reviews on Amazon. It says, "This is a very captivating book. You are taken on a journey through the eyes of the author's emotional struggle to overcome marital betrayal, a well-written account of her introspection of herself to mend the broken pieces of her marriage as she battles her hurt and pain to bring about healing and restoration. The lessons highlighted can be applied to all types of relationships." Another one says, "My goodness, I am smiling, relating, lamenting, hurting, everything. Patrice not only owned her truth publicly, she took us on a story, her journey on how she coped with, how she made it work after an affair, which I never suspected the book was about. I honestly thought this was going to be one of those stereotypical self-help books with steps to take, activity sheets, etc. Nope. This was just raw, unfiltered honesty that clearly her husband had no issue with. That in itself speaks to their stronger bond as a result of all this. A lot of us can learn a lot from this experience." She also has words of advice at the end of each chapter. "These are topics that are worth speaking about in our day-to-day conversations with our friends, loved ones, and family."
Well, I'm glad E prompted you to.
Yes, thank you, E. Seems like I need
that's
to walk
awesome.
with
Those
you.
are awesome reviews, and of course, it will help to get recognition to your own personal life experience. It's a personal experience. Acceptance also comes. I'm reading excerpt. Acceptance also comes in the form of not wanting to control. When your spouse displays characteristics or a way of thinking that you know can shine a negative light upon them, you respectfully give them your advice and guidance on how to avoid calamities. Sharon, are you going to weigh in here?
Just to ask, which would you consider to be the hardest to come back from? An emotional affair or a sexual affair?
I would say an emotional affair. Because
Educate me here. An emotional affair versus a sexual affair?
yeah, sexual affair, you just go, you have sex with the person, bam, 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 it's done.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
there's no strings. Emotional affair is when you know that person is in love with that other person. They're
Okay.
interested in them. They care about them. And then you're now thinking that jealous side would come in like, he don't love me anymore. He loves her
Competition.
some more, something of such sort.
Your
All the
self-esteem
work-
now?
Yes, all of that. Like, what is it that she has or he has that I cannot give? Do they, do they speak to you better? And then, of course, he'll come back to the sex. Do they
The bed.
pleasure you better in all of those ways? So you now start comparing yourself and thinking that your value has decreased and this person is greater than you are. And then even so, because when love gets involved, you know that person will do anything. So you're now become insecure in your position and you no longer
you're
feel
fighting
safe in your
for-
position, and you're fighting for your position because you probably invested a lot into that relationship. Both of you would have probably built from nothing and come up, and you're saying that this person would come in and take all that I've worked so hard for. So you've worked hard tilling the soil, and this person is coming to take your harvest. All of those are the thoughts that is going through your mind, and just the fact of missing that person, missing your friend, missing that person.
Your
you can
soulmate.
just take up the phone and call and say how you're doing, or looking forward to the afternoon conversations or the morning conversations of just losing that person to the other person. So I would say Sharon, right? Sharon, the emotional affair.
I hear the phrase all the time, she didn't mean anything, or he didn't mean, it was just sex. I don't buy that. It was nothing. I didn't mean anything, he was just this or she was just that. I don't buy that. That's why I asked the question.
See, but then I also have to put in here that men can compartmentalize very well.
Women
Because
women can compartmentalize.
we can do
Very,
it
very
too,
true.
but men seem to think just because I did this does not mean this. And so they do that action. Man, it was just a one thing. I didn't really.
I think it's culturally societal, and there's a foundation for that. I was speaking to the doctor during the break. It's a society of acceptance that we live in, where men have free reign, but that goes back to a certain time in our lives when we were told you can have 10 women, you have 20 children because it's the plantation
but back
narrative.
in those days, it was an understanding with the women. I don't think the men would go behind the back and cheat and scheme and do all of those things. It's like, hey, it's openly, it's done. I went and I had sex with Susan and Joy, and this
It
type
was
of
encouraged.
person, I'm coming back home to you. And that's it. You know that you are the first wife. Nobody can take your position.
Yeah.
But here, it's like they have to, they keep lying. They keep lying to cover up their tracks rather than just being honest about what you want. Just be honest. If you don't want to be in a monogamous relationship, just be honest. You would be surprised at the things that women or even a human being would agree to when they love you. You will be so amazed. So if it's the lies and the deceit and the betrayal is what really hurts the most.
You've lived it.
I've spoke to many persons who also lived it as well.
You're sharing it. Yeah. It is great advice. It's you have to run because I could do this.
It's an hour already.
And we're breaking a few short minutes
Yes.
for the made the newscast. I don't know if you can stay beyond that. I won't mind if you have the time because this is educational.
Yeah.
And this is very important. And I want you to speak more about your book, the availability, how you help persons, how they can get in touch with you. But it's not about you because what you're bringing to the program is counseling to a lot of folks who may not want to go to the traditional
the traditional
counselors
coaching
and
ways,
be on the couch and bare their soul, etc. They're hearing from someone who's actually lived it and can identify she's been through it, she survived, I can speak to her, but I don't want to go through this and that. But how can I get in touch with her on a one-on-one and then take it from there? So once again, the mic is yours.
Thank you. Well, just to recap, the book is about healing. It's about transformation. It's about rebuilding, restructuring, and becoming a greater you. It's about using fire and using it as fuel to transform into a more powerful you. And that is what I teach, is teaching persons how to take fire in their life and use it as fuel to become greater rather than just being consumed. You can go to my website, www.patriceoffre.com, and you can contact me there.
Offre.
OFRE. So it's Patrice, PATRICE, Offre, OFRE. So you can go to my website and you can contact me there. The book is available on Amazon on paperback version and Kindle version for those of you who want to read it right now. And all of my books are Kindle versions. I'm those new people. I love the Kindle, but there are some persons who want the actual hard copy.
I forgot my password for my Kindle soul.
Yeah, see, and if you're on the island of St. Kitts and you don't have an Amazon account or you forget your Kindle account and you want a copy, you can contact me at 869-662-4748. Or just message me on my Facebook page, Patrice Offre. All my social media handles are Patrice Offre. Reach out to me. I'll add you on the pre-order list. The first batch of books that we brought in, I was so amazed that they're all sold off. So there's some backlog going on with the printing right now because of the whole COVID crisis that is going on globally. So things are slowed down. So I should have the second batch in no later than the middle of November.
I have a review from a guest up in Charlotte. She's saying, awesome guest. I have a review from Dr. Rollins. Let me see what it says.
Dr. Rollins.
Manslow, Dr. Rollins from the Alzheimer's. We have a, yes. Hi, Socrates. What an excellent program. Take the call in the meantime, if you can.
Hi, caller. You're on Voices.
Hello.
Yes, good morning, sir. Welcome to the program. You're live on Voices.
Yes, good morning, the King.
Journey, you know better about the timing. We're about to break for the news, so you got about a minute to present.
Yes, all right. Good morning to your guests as well.
Yes.
Good morning.
I just want to touch on something she mentioned about polygamy.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons why we are the majority on this planet is because of polygamy, and it was ordained by the Most High. The European see it as demonic, and they demonize it, as well as what we know today in Haiti as voodoo. When we come back, we're going to touch some more on that. I have something else I wanted to bring to the fore, with your permission, after the news break. But yes, polygamy was ordained by the Most High, and that is why we are the majority on this planet. It was established by Him.
Mm-hmm.
It was the order of the Most High.
Okay.
It was demonized by the colonizers who have inserted themselves into our story.
Okay, sir. After the minute newscast, hey, Doc, if you're going to leave us, give us a little wrap up. But I want to read again what Dr. Walden says. She says, what an excellent program this morning. Congrats all around.
Thank you. So before I go, I just want everyone to know that infidelity is not the end, but it can be an opportunity to make your relationship great and stronger again.
Okay. At this point, we pause for the midday newscast. And if it's at all possible, I would like you to step, but who knows? Take it away, Sharon.
Feel the magic happening.
Campari.
Taste. Something incredible happens when Campari is mixed just right. Like Campari and orange juice poured over ice. Taste it. Try it tonight. Bitter, sweeter, better. Campari. Must be 18 years and older. Drink responsibly.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With the WINNFM News, I am Devon Cornelius. Making the headlines, police investigate death of a teenage girl, injury of a young man in house fire. JTS Entertainment secures top spot in Carnival Song Competition. In Haiti, church leaders face growing insecurity after abduction. Internationally, Colombia's most wanted drug lord captured. Now the details. The police have identified the female that died in the house fire on Thursday as 18-year-old Amika Carey, while the badly injured man is said to be 23-year-old Kavon Rodriguez. According to a police statement issued Sunday, Carey was pronounced dead by the district medical officer, and Rodriguez received severe burns about the body and is currently warded at the JNF General Hospital in a critical condition. An autopsy has been scheduled to determine the exact cause of Carey's death. The police say they received a report of a house fire at Kitsodats. Upon arrival at the scene, officers met members of the St. Kitts and Nevis Fire and Rescue Services present. They had already extinguished the fire. JTS Entertainment is the winner of the first of its kind Carnival Song Competition, viewed by a virtual audience on Friday, October 22nd, 2021. With a total of 403 points, JTS Entertainment secured the top spot with their piece Bring Back the Sugar and walked away with a cash prize of 5,000 EC dollars. According to the St. Kitts and Nevis National Carnival Committee, their song will be used to promote the golden anniversary of St. Kitts and Nevis's Carnival, and the victory comes just one day after the release of their Carnival Why Not. The song captures the feeling of most Kittitians and Nevisians who have been yearning for a return of major carnival activities which since 2020 have been curtailed because of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, the Carnival Committee said. The other 5 finalists were Blade, Genesis, KO, GZ Sparta, and the Awesome Navigator. They were presented with checks for 1,000 EC dollars handed over by Minister of Culture Jonelle Powell. After the competition was launched in July this year, it attracted 11 entries. Following the eliminations held on October 4th, 6 artists were selected for the finals. Those not making the cut for Friday night's competition were Jazik Shiverton, Lucin Joseph, Zalik Vidonje Richardson, Bernardo Phipps, and Kyle Roberts. JTS Entertainment was founded on March 31st, 2021 by a group of talented musicians and artists with more than 15 years in the music industry. The members are Vishon Jasbo Bolas and Toriano Tubap Samuel as vocalist, Stickle Bennett as producer and keyboardist, Miguel Stevens as drummer, and Stedroy Brooks as bass guitarist.
It's early morning in Port-au-Prince, and worshipers dressed in their Sunday best are on their way to church. As a wave of violent crime grips the city, many are praying for divine intervention against criminal gangs who are fighting for control over Haiti's capital. Religious leaders tell us even places of worship have become a target for kidnappers.
We know we're a church that has been exposed because we are right there on the streets. A week ago, they tried to kidnap a member of our church. By the grace of God, she ran. So we all have been affected by what is going on in the country.
So far this year, at least 40 church members have been kidnapped in Haiti. This includes 17 missionaries associated with a U.S.-based Christian charity who were abducted last weekend by a group called 400 Mawozo, one of the city's most dangerous gangs. Prayer services across town now count on added security measures like barbed-wired fences and even metal detectors to screen for danger.
This street in downtown Port-au-Prince leads to a church, and on Sunday mornings, security guards block off the exits using motor vehicles, and they keep a close watch on everyone who crosses the ropes. The efforts are to prevent kidnappers from driving up to the doors of the church and abducting the pastor.
In just the first 8 months of the year, close to 800 people were kidnapped in the country, and the UN is pointing to another alarming trend, a dramatic increase in the number of women and children being targeted.
Kidnappings can take place at any given time of the day or the night and anywhere. It sometimes takes place at home, in the street, at school, or even in churches. So there is no safe space for children anymore. And we really see that the criminal gangs are using children increasingly as bargaining chips. It's an increasingly lucrative business in the hands of the criminal gangs.
This man, who has asked us to hide his identity, is a kidnapping survivor. He tells Al Jazeera that he still lives with the trauma of the experience and worries that it could happen again as insecurity continues to grow.
I'm scared right now for my son, because they come into the yard and pick up the person inside your yard. Right now, I don't have to take the car out for them to get kidnapping. I don't have to take my car out to go and get kidnapping, and they could come in here and pick me up.
More than 100 abductions have been recorded in the country in October alone. Haiti currently has the highest kidnapping rate in the world per capita. Many here say violence has grown beyond the ability for authorities to control, and that the last place they have left to find solace is in the mercy of God. Manuel Rapalo, Al Jazeera, Port-au-Prince.
Prime Minister Philip Davis is engaging with experts to determine his administration's position on oil drilling going forward, according to Press Secretary Clint Watson. Watson advised that the Prime Minister has engaged the experts to determine whether his position on the matter will change or remain the same. Now, while in opposition, Davis affirmed his support for oil drilling under the stipulation it is done in an environmentally friendly manner.
What Prime Minister Davis has been doing is engaging the Ministry of Environment, experts like Dr. Newbold, to talk about where are we, what is required for us internationally. If we do this, what will be the result of it? So what we're doing right now is he's simply talking to the experts, getting the best analysis, getting the best advice. Based on that, he will formulate a policy that will, of course, come before Parliament. It will go to Cabinet, and of course, you'll hear about it. But what he's doing right now is talking to the experts in the field, finding out what is best for the Bahamas. If we do this, how do we do it in a parameter that's safe? If we do this, will it have significant benefits to the people of the Bahamas, not just to the people who are doing it, but to the people who live here, who own the resources, the Bahamian people. So we're presently engaged in analysis right now to determine what is the best course of action to move forward. And you'll hear about that very soon.
First, Colombia has seized one of the world's most wanted drug traffickers in a major operation supported by the United States and the United Kingdom. Dario Antonio Usuga, known as Otoniel, was found hiding in the jungle near the Colombia-Panama border. Hundreds of Special Forces troops took part in the capture mission, and the arrest is being hailed as the most significant blow to drug trafficking in the country since the death of Pablo Escobar in the 1990s. Vince Sudin reports.
Handcuffed and surrounded by heavily armed officers, this is Colombia's biggest drug kingpin after he was finally captured. Dairo Antonio Usuga, better known as Otoniel, had a $5 million bounty placed on his head by the United States. He was seized after a joint operation by the Army, Air Force and police on Saturday. The leader of Colombia's largest criminal gang, the Gulf Clan, Usuga is accused of trafficking cocaine to the US, killing police officers, recruiting minors and sexually abusing children. President Ivan Duque hailed the capture as the most important for 30 years.
This is the biggest blow against drug trafficking in our country this century. This blow is only comparable to the fall of Pablo Escobar in the 1990s.
Pablo Escobar was a notorious drug lord and killer who terrorized Colombia until his death in 1993. He fueled the mass import of drugs into the United States. Otoniel was captured in his rural hideout in northwestern Colombia. One police officer was killed in the operation, which included 500 Special Forces troops and 22 helicopters. As the net closed in on him, the US and the UK joined forces with the Colombians to help.
We
were clear he was moving with the help of 8 security teams, separated by 1 to 3 kilometers each. We began an important satellite work against him, with agencies from the United States and the United Kingdom, where with each movement, with trace analysts, with communications, more than 50 experts in signal intelligence permanently covering that area.
Usuga now faces extradition proceedings to the United States.
This has been the WINNFM 98.9 newscast. Let's recap our top stories. Police investigate death of a teenage girl, injury of a young man in house fire. JTS Entertainment secures top spot in Carnival Song Competition. In Haiti, church leaders face growing insecurity after abduction. Internationally, Colombia's most wanted drug lord captured. Devon Cornelius, WINNFM. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Your Horseless Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tag Special.
Running October 21st to November 3rd.
IGA or Essential Everyday Breadcrumbs, $6.99. Langer's Cranberry Juice Cocktail Mixes, $9.99. Chobani Greek Yogurt, $4.99. Blue Ribbon Ice Cream, $27.99. IGA or Essential Everyday Pasta Sauces, $7.99. IGA or Essential Everyday Salad Dressing, $6.99. And now our very low weekly
value deals. Essential Everyday Mayonnaise, $9.99. IGA Essential Everyday Cereals, $7.99. High C Box Drink, $8.99. Essential Everyday Chunk and Shredded Cheeses, $7.99. Intro Drinks, $7.49. Snack Pack Puddings and Gels, $4.99. Shop smart, shop value mart. Joan in Espanol.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a Value Mart.
And we're back for the second half of Voices, the after news interlude. And my name is Socrates, host of today's program. We had with us this morning, I don't want to call her Doc, but of course, Mrs. Patrice Offrey, an author of a book, and she went with it. And what was the title of it again? Helping to work through the healing process after an affair. I'm hopeful that she can return because we had quite a few calls, some reviews about the program and what she brought and what she has to offer from that book, the platform I won't say has created, but has helped to bring to the fore to deal and assist a lot of persons who would have been in an unhealthy, toxic relationship, all part of the healing journey. And so we've had some calls that spoke to it. We had a particular caller just before the newscast that spoke about polygamy, and it's part of a cultural thing. It was ordained by the Most High. So I expect that caller to return the call. And we go to the phone lines as we speak. Good day, caller. You're live on Voices.
Hello.
Good day, sir. You're live on Voices.
Yes, the King. It's Johnny here again.
Johnny here again. Okay.
I kind of fell asleep this morning.
You fell asleep, so did you get a program when the young lady was on? You didn't get most of it?
Yeah. I got the gist of what she was talking about, but that's why I kind of made my call a bit late.
Okay.
You know, about polygamy, yeah, I think, you know, this was the order of nature, that's N-U-T-R-E, what we call nature. It was ordained. That's why we are the majority on the planet, the king. Now, is the guest still there?
She would have left.
Okay. With your permission, I would like to raise something to the listeners' ears. It's something that is happening in Finland. I find it quite disturbing, but I would seek your permission to take it over there.
Go ahead.
Okay. There's a university in Finland called Helsinki. It's one of the top universities, and it's a very diverse university. And every year around September, they have an open ceremony where they take in new students. And on this ceremony, the student would perform acts, different historical acts. Now, apparently, there were some Finnish students who chose to engage in an act of colonization where they have portrayed African in Finland as scavengers. Now, this group of students who were taking part in this act, they did it on the campus ground, and one black student, after realizing what was happening, she kind of questioned why they was allowed to do it and brought it to the dean or the public.
Okay.
And journalists and everyone was tapped into it. And, you know, there's a bit of a blow-up right now in Finland at Helsinki University. That's Helsinki.
Helsinki.
Now, what they did, they apparently, a fashion designer have created a game where in this game was created in 1950. I'm not sure of the designer's name, but he created this game, and the student was going back because this game was like showing where in 1950, according to the designer, they portrayed South Africa as a no man's land, where in this game they show colonizers going into South Africa, stealing gold, diamond, and putting them into Northern Africa, claiming that Southern Africa was not civilized at the time. Now, our history, and I'm bringing this to the fore because a lot of our people are not aware of the University Timbuktu, the university in Benin, which was in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Those university was destroyed. So for a designer to create a game in 1950 and claiming that South Africa was uncivilized at that time, we need to educate our people. And yes, I am furious with what happened, although I am not in Finland. I am furious, and our people need to pay attention to what is happening to us because the king, we are disrespected globally. There are some of us who would say, well, I am here, I am not there. What goes on in Europe where black people are concerned, what goes on in America, in Australia, in China, we should be furious. We should be furious because all that they're trying at us, look at it. Are they trying these things at China? Are they trying these things at India? I mean, okay, we know India was colonized too.
Yeah.
Look at us today. Look at us. Why are this race being targeted? Why? Now, to come down to the biblical part of it, the thing. Here we are waiting for the parousia. We are waiting for the parousia of the returned Messiah, a Messiah that they gave us. They gave us. Let us look at the theology of the image of the Messiah that they gave us and ask ourselves the question, who is killing who? I raised this concern last week with the other guy. Who is killing who? And for those
Did you get
who
an
are
answer?
doing the killing, sorry?
Did you get an answer?
Not the king, but I want our people to take their thinking to the Fahrenheit that it should be.
Okay.
If we are in the Celsius, we are in their narrative. Take our thinking to the Fahrenheit that it should be. Because when we pray, are we praying for forgiveness? And if we are praying for forgiveness, what is our sin? Because in the first part of the book, when the first murder was committed, the Lord came down and he asked, where is your brother? Am I my brother's keeper? Was responded. We are our brother's keeper. The blood of my brother cried out unto the Lord, and it ascended into the heavens. We are the Fahrenheit. The blood that was spilled on the earth ascended to him. We are our brother's keeper. What happened in Europe, what happened in America, what happened in Australia, China to black people, we should be concerned. They gave us the Messiah in their narrative, and they even give us a God that we have gullible, hook, line, and sinker. Let me repeat that. They not just only gave us the Messiah in their narrative, they gave us a God in their narrative. Because before they came to us, Timbuktu was a university, Egypt was a university, Benin was a university, and it was inhabited with you and me as ancestors, black people. When Jesus went to hide from Pharaoh, from Herod, he went into the university in Egypt, in front of the doctors and the scholars, and there is where he got his education. I am not saying, the king, follow me. I'm going to finish now. I'm not saying that the book, the black book that we read, it is not true. We need to see it in our narrative, because when they say that the word was written by inspired men of God, the question we should ask is, who were those inspired men? Because the book that they gave us have no author. No author. They are the narrator of the word, and they have inserted themselves into it. These creatures that we glorify today. Forget about tourism, the king. Caribbean tourism is dead in the water. Let us focus on the continent. That is the present and the future. And it's you and my birthright. I work in the tourist industry too. Okay?
I know that.
The same bug that stung you, it stung me as well. Caribbean tourism is dead in the water. Let us, the book says, in the end, he can gather back his people into the land of their forefathers. That's you and me, and the continent of this land is on the continent of Africa. Thank you for hearing me.
Okay, thank you so very much for that contribution. Well, me personally, haven't had a chance to chat with you for the past couple of weeks, so it's good to have had you back. And I'm glad to learn that you were able to get on during the time I wasn't here. So because we go back to the phone lines, caller, you're live on Voices. Welcome to the program. Good day, caller, you're live on Voices. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, man, nice talking to you. Good afternoon, Journey.
Good afternoon, Sister Henry.
Keep traveling. Saul had an experience. I had a proper journey, It means well, and the Bible says whoever seek will find.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't seek, you don't find.
That is correct.
Yes, I don't condemn him, because the Bible, Saul said he was fervent man. He thought he was doing the work of God when he was taking out all those who belong to the way.
Is that Journey?
Journey.
Is that Journey today? Is that
No,
Journey today?
Saul was on a journey.
Yes.
The Apostle Paul, he was on a journey.
That is true, yes.
Yes, because he was fervent. How could these people just come talking about the Messiah?
Okay.
And, now, the issue you spoke about, they're giving us. Well, let me get to the forgiveness, because I think you misunderstood what I said. I was saying that we are a forgiving people. forgiving. We are, you know, some of us are. Well, those who don't take the revenge, eh?
Mm-hmm.
And you would have seen in the many cases, even in the U.S., where the blacks were murdered and whatever. After a while, they were willing to say, look, I release myself. I forgive you. They were not asking the perpetrators to forgive them. They were saying, look, I know what you did was wrong and it hurt us badly, but we're not going to carry this bitterness in our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they were saying, you know. It is not just a you right to kill, but people who engage with bitterness. You know, sometimes you just got to let go, even though you're right, Socrates.
That is true.
You got to let go.
What's the phrase, let go and let God?
Let go and let God.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I sometimes sit down and study, say, you look, Britain and all those countries were empires that they say could never end. You don't see that as recompense.
Well,
You don't see
it's
that?
all about perspective.
Yes. I mean, Pharaoh thought he had all the power and whatever. And even when he let them go, he went back for them. He was going back for them.
We saw the rise and fall of Rome, and these, you know.
All of them, when you read history, none of them thought that the empire would end. China was occupied too, you know.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So most countries were, and a lot of those who did all the punishing and so, they are now facing it, but we don't see it so. We want instant vengeance.
Well, there is a question of acknowledging the wrongs that were done. We know there was a time they boasted that the sun never set on the British Empire.
On the
They
British
ruled the
Empire.
world.
But where is it today?
So even though they are somewhat crippled, we're looking for acknowledgement of the wrongs they would have done to peoples around the world.
You know, some people, if you wait for them, they're not going to come.
That's true.
I mean,
But their movements afoot to...
Imagine the Queen 92 and 95.
Mm-hmm.
And for the life of me, she wouldn't hand up the crown.
No.
And it was given to her by her mother.
When her father died? No, her uncle abdicated.
Well, and she got it.
I went to her father and then he died, yes.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
But for the life of me, she's not giving it up, so she going to give you an apology.
Well, she didn't trust... No. It shouldn't be left to her to decide.
Seriously. Everybody thought by now Charles would have been on the throne.
Charles proved to be ineffective.
She got to the idea.
Mm-hmm.
She herself has refused to apologize. The letter was drafted to her, you know.
Yes.
Yes.
But some years ago, when former Prime Minister, the one before Thatcher, Cameron, I think it was Cameron, when the reparation movement was hot then in London and they was talking about it, and Jamaicans were pushing, you know, Professor Becker's, what he offered was a prison in Jamaica. He built a prison. He funded, and what was it? That was the port.
No, his aim, you know, it wasn't that he wanted a prison. He wanted a place to repatriate the Jamaicans from the UK to it, you know.
So that's for reparation.
Ship them out.
And he gave him a prison.
He wanted to ship out. I remember the Jamaicans most likely get deported from the UK because they go in there illegally and engage in all kind of activity. It was that.
I won't get on the road,
when what's his name? Obama went to Obama give.
I don't know.
I mean, really,
but I know I took umbrage to the fact that they asked him for help. You didn't build a hospital or school, you build a prison.
I'm telling you, because that is what he wanted to. All who he had to ship out from the UK to Jamaica, the government said, well, we ain't got nowhere to put them. He said, all right, I'm going to give you somewhere to put them. You know, but so, look, let me tell you something, see? We have to acknowledge the past. We have to acknowledge the past. We have stated our case. We want reparation. We have now got to get up and do something for ourselves rather than wait. And even in Africa, we speak a lot about Africa. Africa have all the resources. What are the people doing? They have the resources.
Comes down to who control the resources.
Some of them do, you know. Well,
they're just fronting. Most of them are puppet governments. They have the appearance that they control.
And another thing with the tribe. The leader has to come from their tribe. You know, when and what you're going to get a united Africa? if they can't united in their own nation. Every tribe want their own country, inside the country, you know. We got to acknowledge, look, while we're waiting for the apology, we're doing for ourselves. And we got to give the Caribbean governments credit. With their meager resources, they have come a long way. You don't think so?
Yes and no.
Well, yeah, yes and no.
Yes and no.
Yeah, but I mean, we got to look at it seriously. The standard of living has been increased tremendously in a shorter time.
Definitely.
With little or no resources. And this is where we call, so we want the African, but it is the set of ruling who actually getting the wealth. The wealth is in the cities and the people out there living as they were living. You see what we're talking about?
Yeah, and those governments are propped up by foreign interests. So there's a high degree of corruption.
They're doing it in their own interest.
Yes.
So we can't, they're not puppets. True. Most of them nowadays, they would have been to London School of Economics. All of them educated, eh?
Yes. That is what happens to us in the region. We put on a jacket at the time we went to this university, but what are we doing?
All of them know the same history that we have been repeating. They know the history, they know. But another thing too, we tend to overlook the damage done by the Arabs. Maybe we're afraid if we go and jump on the Quran. We jump on the Bible, but we don't jump on the Quran, you know.
No, you can't. You don't do that.
So that, you know, they just kill you.
Take off your head.
They will kill you. You can't talk about Muhammad and what they do to. What have they done? We want repatriation there too.
That narrative is not on the table.
Eh?
That narrative is not being...
That is what annoys me. You can't be looking for one set and not the set. When they take out over 40 million, 40 million, more than 3 times what the other people take out. And we're not asking. And they got oil, eh?
You mean
they have oil. They got a lot of resources too.
That's true.
You know, so we got to look after ourselves, eh? We love Africa, but how is Africa going to advance if their own leaders and their own people insist on their tribes? You don't have which country in Africa is united? I remember to hear this person in that set. You know, they're breaking up the country.
It's a very complex situation. It
very
has
much,
always been. So there's no one size fit all.
Here you are asking people, we must invest in Africa. Then how about have some investment where you live? Because we have some people say, oh, we don't have any, we're not getting enough foreign direct investment. That is recolonization, in case they don't know.
I think John is advocating that we look towards Africa for, you know, promoting tourism rather than the current...
yeah, well, they must come down here and invest in us.
Well, you open the dialogue.
They have the money.
You open the dialogue.
Right?
You open the dialogue because the current model is not quite working.
You know.
Pardon?
The dialogue has started.
Okay.
Yeah, Barbados started. Well, I suppose other countries, because I was in UAE in 82. Yes. And leaders were coming to the university. You understand? It is now going on a higher level. But I am still saying, why not encourage all of those who got all the money up there they're robbing the people blind with to invest in us?
I'm going to let Johnny answer the question. We're going to pause now.
No, I'm dead serious now.
Yeah.
They have it. They could give us a university. You know, sponsor student exchange. They got it. You think all those Nigerians over at Windsor Poor? God bless them. You know what I mean? They could send their students to CFBC as a cultural exchange. They could open some of the hotels here because they have money, and a lot of them have our passport.
We are no excuse. Broaching diplomatic relations with a number of those countries, so that may be part of the forward thrust.
You know what? Maybe will be.
Okay. Well, I'm not a policymaker. We're just having this discussion.
Look out here. All right. They want to colonize us. I mean, we got to get this thing serious. And Journey, I am glad you're reading the Bible.
Okay.
Because you're doing better than some Christians, eh?
We're going to pause now for a word from our sponsors,
an
Sister Henry.
encounter. I want you to have an encounter with the true God. Not the one that they give us or they give you.
Okay, I know he's just going to respond, but in the meantime, we do have to take a word from our sponsors,
and,
right?
By the way, the lady who was talking about the book, what is the price of the book?
That was not mentioned. I'm going to text her, get the information.
It is being sold on Amazon, you know.
Yes, I'm going to text her and get information and relate.
Yeah, and I want to encourage our people to write. You know, because we could write. We have stories to tell. We have things to write about. So I want to encourage her, you know.
Much appreciated. Thank you very much. And we pause now for a word from our very kind sponsors.
Run to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store now and get a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. By popular demand, Cashback is back. But this time, Cashback is back with more quality appliances, more great prices, and fantastic deals. More of Hosford's fabulous FlexPay payment plan, and more free groceries. A whole year of free groceries. Come to Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store today and get absolutely free groceries with every higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year. Great deals on furniture and appliances. Get cash back for free groceries with FlexPay higher purchase and a chance to win free groceries for 1 year with every $500 spent. All great reasons to shop at Hosford's Furniture and Appliances in Ashley Furniture Home Store this coupon season. Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
We're back on Voices, and now we go straight back to the phone lines. Call your live on Voices. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, the King.
Good afternoon, sir, Africa.
How are you today?
Splendid. I'm above, the surface. Vertical, so I'm here. Talk to me.
Can I have permission to speak?
Certainly.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mrs. Henry. Good afternoon to all that are listening. Mouth shut, it comes from a missing in action. Not because you don't want to call in, I would assume, but because of how your program content was. Last week you spoke to yourself. I felt so.
You felt bad for me?
For you. That's great. So, but first thing first. I want to touch on tourism, but there's so much on the table, on the plate. Give me a brief synopsis, as brief as possible. I can't just call in and it's my trade.
As to the current state of affairs in tourism?
Yes.
There's a ship currently docked in port. We were asked to...
From what emanates from the last meeting you all had?
Well, the information is that for the month of November, with the exception of 3 days, there'll be ships in port every single day of November, going into December and early January. The question was asked, how ready are the taxi, is industry in terms of being able to accommodate the anticipated workflow? And the key question is how many of the membership are vaccinated. That seems to be the condition by which members will be allowed to work on Port Zante. Whether the bubble will be continue for some time. They're saying if you have 600 persons on the ground on any given day, are we in a position to accommodate that numbers? The question was asked, how many are vaccinated? And we would have reached out to a membership. What we find, there are duplications in terms of the numbers that tourism would have from Limega and from Sinkers Taxi and the cooperative. They're all overlapping. So that is one of the key issues. I know that you have concerns about that, but we must be in a position after this very long dry spell, be ready to accommodate the numbers that are anticipated. Be prepared If that's the condition, one has to decide whether to get vaccinated or be in a position to take that test as frequently as possible. I'm not sure if there's a way of getting around that, but that's what's on the table at the moment. Based on what was shared, based on what we were told, the ships are now back. Not at the same level as pre-COVID, but we've waited a very long time, and we should have anticipated this day and be ready. The 1st of November is just a few days from here. Today is the 25th of October. 6 days from here, you're looking at the 1st of November. And as I said, with the exception of 3 days in November, there should be ships in port every single day. So there's that.
Thank you. Okay, let me move on to other matters. A few episodes back, I think these programs are to dialogue with each other. Defer to beg to differ in spite of whatever your political, religious, or cultural perspective might be. It's a dialogue that we are to have respect for each other. I think it was somewhat distasteful the way Mrs. Henry came out and somewhat condemned those that does not adhere to the quote-unquote the Christian faith, and I don't think what these dialogues are for. We beg to differ. We all came out of the Christian belly, Christendom, and I myself, it would be a disservice for my mother to hear me say things about Christianity. She was a devout Christian. And so that part, I think it was done in a distasteful way, because if you really trace everything, what a lot of religions practice, it has its origin elsewhere. Suffice to say. Earlier caller calling, while you had the lady on earlier and spoke about polygamy, that I agree with, because you will see Joseph, or rather Jacob, for whatever reason, he had, I assume, 4 wives. All his children was by 4 different women. Mm-hmm. You will see Abraham, in spite of how the narrative is, I don't think Sarah would have said to him, go and sleep with Hagar, the Egyptian, that being married to her, Sarah, that would have been adultery. So somewhere along the way, the honorable Abraham, the father of the nation, would have had to be married to Hagar, the Egyptian also. He also had another wife whose name was Keturah. We don't hear about Keturah much, but that's for another story. So the polygamy aspect, yes, you can see it throughout the Bible. We can't even start to talk about Solomon.
It's still cultural in many parts of the world.
Yes, providing one can provide for the wives. The first wife, like they said with the story with Sarah, she gave consent to Hagar. So therefore the wife was pivotal in counseling the man, the husband, as to be careful of this type of person or that type of person. And she would have been instrumental in seeing whose wife. And they lived good, raised the children. Now, certain things crept in and it would have caused confusion, because we saw Absalom with David and so wanted the throne and so forth and so forth and so forth. So I agree with the polygamy aspect, providing the husband can provide for everybody and everybody. The environment, the setting was totally different as opposed to here now. Let us go into another aspect that Mrs. Henry spoke about, and the African context and all of that. I also agree that our leaders here can also assist with whatever way with the leaders on the continent, the collaboration. After all, we were brought here and we have experienced a lot and have contributed a lot to the upkeep of the West. So yes, we therefore have something to offer, not just to the leaders on the continent, but our sisters and brothers on the continent also. It needs to be a collaboration.
Do we have the collective will? Do we have a vision?
Right.
There has to be a vision, one agenda, and the collective will. We don't have that.
Yes, so that's where the collaboration comes in, because what is lacking out here is It's in abundance there. And what might be lacking there is abundance here. So the collaboration will bring us together. It has started already. Okay?
Okay.
So I'll agree with that aspect of it and for the betterment of all. But the unity part is always going to be elusive to us, even over there and here. As for the tribes and the borders, it was more a uniformity over there, where certain kingdoms had it's certain conference that carved up the continent, the countries, where it split tribal people. Some is on this side and some is on that side. It was much better organized. Even though a kingdom might entail other tribes, it was a Berlin conference that the parted kingdoms split one in Benin, one in Togo. Half the family in Benin, half in Togo. Just like how they did us, Mrs. Henry and me. My mother probably had a sister on the same ship. They did not leave my mother and her sibling here. They put one in Antigua. And that's the point I'm making. So all of these things are brought about the confusion that we see today. Can it be? Yes, but we have to unite under one commonality. And there's a commonality, but for some reason we keep turning our backs against the truth. And do not tell me that God wasn't. For all of these thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years we were on this earth, we just found God in 2,000 years ago. We just found God. Salvation was always among humanity from the very first inception of time. We were born with salvation. That is why in the book, in the narrative, it said, Jesus said, "Get behind me, Satan." He did not say, "Get away from me," Get behind me, because it's something that is embedded in every human being that we need to rise above, rise from.
Okay.
The low level of how we think. From the shaft, from the base to the crown of our head. That is when we become the Christ. And that is every man's journey. Man, woman. You don't want to be the Christ because you are a male or female. The Christ have no gender. It's for all humanity. Thanks for listening.
All right. Thank you very much for that contribution. It comes down to BC and AD. We're now in AD. And we are of more or less of a Christian culture. The young lady who was on this morning wasn't bashing polygamy per se. She was promoting monogamy. She's of the Christian faith. That's her background. I read some excerpts from her book. And what she's saying that once you would have made that vow of commitment and you go outside of that, that is where the infidelity would have come in. So she wasn't saying, okay, this is how it has always been. So when Johnny called to speak about what was ordained, I'm not going to say it was of a different culture, a different time. But if you're of the Christian faith as she is, she was speaking to her experience, being married, her expectations in going into the marriage and what was happening and how she was reacting to it and how she had to give herself a reset, re-educate herself, go on a journey to understand what she would have had to do to make sure her marriage survived. And as one of the reviews from Amazon pointed out, her husband was obviously on the same page. So we know about the cultures of polygamy. We know what is required for monogamy. And the book that she came to promote, a lot of people can relate to. We're not living in a society where polygamy is upheld or promoted. We're in a different society today. And so you have to speak to what you know. You have to speak to the environment. So journey your callers will take and the point is well made. Africa, yours too. Of course, Sister Sylvian is well made, but it's about the book and understanding what's happening today. We don't live in a society or culture where polygamy is the order of the day and you don't care. Once you would have made a commitment into a marriage as she was in, and the problem that ensued, that's what she's speaking to and hoping to help other persons understand what is required for the healing, the self-esteem, the many things that you go through. It's emotional. And I think she would have done a wonderful job in the book she's written based on what I've read. The reviews speak to that. And so he's not bashing one against the other, putting one against the other. And I like the question that Sharon posed, which hurts more, the emotional or harder to come back from. I'm not going to ask if you're speaking from experience, but it was a well-put question.
No, I wasn't speaking from experience.
Okay.
It's just that you hear about the different types of affairs. And so therefore, as someone who has helped persons on their journey to, recover from that affair, I just simply asked which one was harder to come back from, whether it was a one-time thing with that individual, a sexual affair, or an emotional affair.
What do you think of a version, so to speak, of counseling, going to counseling, marriage counseling, etc.? It's not something that's part of a culture, but is this something that's appealing to people more?
I think everybody should be open to some sort of counseling for whatever trauma they go through, honestly. I know we tend to be like, well, I could handle this. We have a little bit of an ego, I guess, in a way, and figure that we don't really need to talk to anybody. We might mention something to our friends, but not necessarily talk to a professional about what you would be going through. And so I think, honestly, speaking, although yes, talking to a friend helps, in the context of, if your spouse stepped out on you, talking to a female, talking to another person who isn't necessarily married, they might not give the best advice. They might be able to hear you out, but, they might not be able to advise you because they themselves are not married. So I just figured that speaking to a professional who can help to guide you in the journey, because as she spoke about the hurt feeling, the angry feeling, the different feelings that you actually go through when confronting something like this, I think it's that you definitely have to go to a professional to seek help, and not just in a marriage breaking down, but for any aspect of life. If you feel like you need to talk to somebody, talk to somebody.
In the broken relationship where one is hurting, there's that urgent need to speak, to share, because you're looking for advice, some solace. And oftentimes, our best friends or those close to the situation would be biased and may not give us the best advice. And then it goes against, to some context, if you don't have the preacher, the pastor of the church, who often serves as a counselor, sometimes it's not the best thing. But you're told to keep your affairs to yourself. Leave your mother and your father, and you have to work it up yourself. But if you don't have that level of communication amongst yourself, Lady Patrice serves as a person who offers a shoulder to lean or cry on, because she would have lived it. Nothing teaches more than the person who would have had that personal experience that can speak to it. So when they say to you, I feel your pain, I understand what you're going through, having lived it, they're speaking to the truth.
And somebody who's also, somebody who is there to help you through it will guide you by asking the questions that you probably need to ask yourself in order to work through something. So even if they didn't experience it themselves, they probably had persons who probably went through something similar. And so sometimes the advice given or the questions asked of you to ask yourself to then try to work through whatever situation it is that you have to work through, that's important as well, because you might not be able to see that particular path that that person is trying to open your mind to. That's all.
It's difficult. There's no one size fit all. There's no band-aid that covers the, it's not a generic situation. Every story is different. It's all about survival. It's all about pride. It's about commitment. It's about what you would have brought to the table, so to speak, and how you're treated. And then the society plays a major role, because we like to gossip about people's affairs and make fun of it. I know a story, and this is a bad story, of a guy who was being cheated upon, and he left Nevis on the boat. Back in the day, you would come down to Singers to work. And there was this one chap on the boat who was ribbing him, we said teasing him, rubbing it in. Boy, your wife so and so on, and your wife so and so on, your wife so and so on. The boat docked in St. Kitts. He didn't come off. He went back to Nevis. And what the guy was describing, he happened to see. Ended up with a murder charge. People take these things lightly. I mean, I've been in a situation where I want to tell a friend, well, fellow, watch your case because so and so. But you're mindful because apart from pillow talk, you have to be careful how you share information like that. It's your friend. You see, well, he or she is being cheated upon. You want to tell them. One has to be careful. I know about another person who lost his life. His girlfriend was at home in her bed, and he and others went to a dance, and somebody formed and tell her, well, he up there in the dance, rub it up and so and so. And on his way home, she met him on the road. She ended up with a murder charge. So there's that downside, that drastic, that nasty side of it in relationships. It all starts also rosy and then hit the rocks. So you need to have that access, be encouraged to go on, talk it out. So I think that she is a service that's very well needed. Too many people suffer in silence. And when you're forced to internalize, and you can't tell people because of the shame, you may have children as part of the equation, and you hide it from them. You think you're hiding it from them, but they're seen, and they actually learn those lessons, and it becomes part of their life in the future. We pause now for a word from our sponsors. Let me come up my stump. 1 minute or two.
Be a hero. September is the month of heroes in St. Kitts and Nevis. And for the months of September to October, Hosford's Automotive wants you to be a hero too. Yes! Drive like a hero at the massive Hosford's Automotive Be a Hero sales event. Go to Hosford's Automotive today and drive away like a hero with up to $35,000 discount on select models. Your choice of either free gas for 3 months or up to $1,000 in free groceries. Pay just 10% VAT. Yo, just 10% VAT. Free servicing for 1 year. Free bill of sale. Free registration, licensing, and tinting. 0 down payment. That's right. Absolutely 0 down payment. And much, much more. Drive away like a hero from Hosford's Be a Hero sales event. The biggest, most heroic sales event ever in the Federation. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to Voices as we go straight through the phone lines.
The greetings, Brother Socrates.
With respect, sir. How are you?
Yeah, this is Rascal Lunch.
I got you loud and clear.
Yes. I want to address something that Miss Henry is saying. Miss Henry is saying a lot of things that is not historically correct. Okay. For instance, one item I want to deal with, the whole question about people being enslaved in Egypt. The story about Moses, right? It's a farce. It never happened. Our people got to come to realize these things. These colonialists make up these things. The enslavement of Jews in Egypt never happened. There's no documentation of it in Egypt in the tombs and temples.
Is it a biblical record or not?
It is not. It's a make-up story. And it could be validated. Any Egyptologist could tell you that.
We would love to engage.
Pharaoh, let's take the whole question around Pharaoh. Pharaoh is not an individual. Pharaoh is a title.
I know.
Just like the president.
Mm-hmm.
You have President Bush, President Obama. You understand? Different presidents. So when she's talking about Pharaoh, let my people go, they're not talking about an individual. Pharaoh is a title. A lot of these things we take out the Bible. It's what these colonialists make up and then put it to us. We came here with a culture. We had a God before we came here. How come now we have to adopt the oppressor God? These are things we got to come to realize, man, and deal with them. This is a modern day. Mm-hmm. It's just like what's going on with COVID-19 right now. Whatever the colonialists them tell us, we accept. Now there's information coming about COVID-19 where you say that ivermectin could deal with the problem of COVID-19 when you get the virus.
There's been some pushback on that.
Well, there's pushback because the pharmaceutical companies want the product sell. They want you to take the vaccine. These things are out there. Look at take Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci is the one who is responsible for COVID-19 because he fund the gain of function research in Wuhan. And nobody is questioning him.
They're saying there's no relation, there's no correlation.
What do you mean there's no correlation? We have the emails. I have the emails, they're on the internet. Dr. Fauci testifying in front of Congress with Ron Paul questioning him.
Yeah, but he said that he should have given that information 2 years ago. But that funding had nothing to do with the current fallout of COVID-19. I'm just saying what he's saying. So,
said so. I'm not making this up. The emails are there. Dr. Fauci is the one who funded it.
He got funded for it. He got funding for that research.
But that's okay.
But they were saying that's two different
the
things.
States government who is responsible. And all people down here dividing people whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated. And we are not questioning the root of the problem. The United States government is who brought the COVID-19 into being.
Okay. My apologies. We have lost that call. I apologize for that. If you get a chance to call back, please do so. And I got from a listener. He says the original Jews were black, so those Jews living in Israel and Europe, etc., whites became Jewish by conversion. So we have people who are contributing. And I just got some information from my guest for today. She's saying that on Amazon, this was a question posed by Sister Sylvian Henry about the cost of the book. She says on Amazon, it's $9.99 for the Kindle, and by paperback, it's $15.99. So $10 and $16. On Amazon, it's $9.99 for Kindle, and paperback, it's $15.99. So there you have it. On Amazon, you can have your options. $9.99 by Kindle, and if you want to get a paperback, it's $15.99. Thank you, Miss Offray, for that information. Away we know. Okay. That was Rascal speaking about, he was responding to something that Sister Stephen Henry said, and he's saying that the whole story about the enslavement of the Egyptians never happened. We're told that Joseph went down and he was adopted by the pharaohs and raised by them, and then later on his family went down to get food after the famine, and then after a period of time they were there in the numbers and enslavement ensued, etc. Rascal and just saying that never happened. Okay, that's a story that many of us grew up with, and it was drilled into our psyche. Over the many years, we had Sunday school, all the different things, and he's disputing that, saying no Egyptologist would, based on the information available, would support that, because there's evidence to the contrary, and the conversation will continue because between Rascolonji's journey, Africa, Stephen Henry, it's an ongoing debate. It's a healthy debate, and it gives us different perspective. So as Africa was asking about what's going on in tourism, the information that we were given in a meeting, I think it was last week, Tuesday or Thursday was it, up at the NEMA building. We met with the task force and other many stakeholders and spoke about, we're talking about folks from Cantos, they're the ship's agents mainly. So they were given figures as to what we are to anticipate in terms of ships. In terms of numbers, I think one day they said there will be some 600 passengers anticipated. So I think percentage-wise, between the other, where it says scenic and Cantos, they go with about 60% of the work, and 40% remains to be shared amongst the other taxi, independent taxi tours, etc., etc. So if we're looking at, say, There's a call? Okay, we go to the phone lines. Caller, you're live on Voices. We'll have Mr. Caller. If we're looking about, say, 200 or, passengers, though that's a third, to be shared amongst the many taxi drivers, we in a position to handle the various tours. And we go back to the phone lines. Caller, you're live on Voices. Welcome to the program. Good day, caller. Are you there? You're live on Voices.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm back.
You're back.
Yes. The biblical aspect of it. Today, a lot of people are talking about the re-establishment of Israel. Israel was a thriving nation also, and they fell. One was quick to point out all other persons. But let's say it was the only godly nation on earth.
What was?
And they also fell. But here what? Once you read the Bible carefully, you will find that, okay, here is it. These people, today, the Jewish nation, the Jewish race, have a decree that never again will such atrocity will occur, will happen to them again.
Referring to the Holocaust?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And no one can wrong them, no one can blame them for having such a stand, for whatever reason. Well, if anyone, if anything happened to a nation of such magnitude, and that was small comparing to the 40 million that Mrs. Henry spoke about, that went across the Trans-Sahara, and the other 20 million, 25 million that came this way, of the same set of people, the same race of people, us.
Mm-hmm.
If the Jews could come up with that, and I laud them to say that, what would be our modus operandi? What should be our mantra? What should be our constitution? What should be our reputation about the atrocities that has happened? No, but we still present ourselves as the most vulnerable people to anything to reoccur again to us. Now, I'm saying all of this to say, well, if the atrocities happen in Egypt to these people, the statement they are making now, they would have made that statement already. Because
you mean never again?
Huh?
You mean never again?
Yes, and not this time alone.
And they
so never
said
again.
They said never again, and they said next year in Israel, because there's supposed to be this homegoing, this Exodus. So
right.
It's never again, and next year in Israel.
Right. So the never again would not have occurred just recently in 1935.
Would have been back after that.
In spite of the amount that would have died. That is that. One nation, one child die, one person die, we regret. So we keep seeing that even when the real enemies, the Assyrians, came to, and even the prophet got involved in it, came down and crouching on the nation of Israel, who did they turn to? The Egyptians. And once message by the envoy got to the Assyrian camp, the Egyptians are coming. They fled. So you could see it's a lie. But what we're saying, let us interrogate the book. Because if that atrocity had occurred with Israel out of Egypt, why would they come and request Pharaoh's help? Not only that, anytime anything happens, is in Egypt they go to for rescue.
Interesting perspective.
Case in point,
the famine?
God, the same God, that told the nation of Israel, the same God sent his messenger to tell the family, take my son and go down to Egypt. Well, if the idols were so bad before, how come the idols going to be miraculous now? That even when Herod sent his soldiers to search for Egypt for this child, they could not have found him.
Interesting perspective.
Come on, people. The story is ours. And they know that this book is under scrutiny because they took our story, plagiarized it, relabeled it, and put it back to us to make us look like we are servitude. We are the firstborn. It is said in the book, Israel is my firstborn. We are the firstborn. Listen out again.
Do you identify as an Israelite?
This passage here, the king, this last.
Did you get my question?
The mother in a bad light to say, well, she put here something, a skin of a goat on Jacob's hand.
Yeah.
Okay? To make it look like. Today, if you and I doing a test and we go and say like my mother, a sibling, is a school teacher. They gave me all the answers. I put it in my hand, write them in my hand, gone in the class, and I passed with flying colors. That would be cheating. Okay? But they put the mother in the bad light to say, well, I put this thing on his hand, the voice sound like Jacob, but the skin feel like it's
And they got the blessing?
To get the birthright from the firstborn. They're trying to get our birthright, and they're trying to justify our birthright with our story against us. We are the firstborn of all nations. There are other nations. And when we are re-established, we're not going to turn them away. We're going to let them come down and get bread, just like everybody else came to Bethlehem to get bread.
Here's a question I ask you.
Bethlehem would not have been any place else but Africa, because that is where the river won, and there was food on both sides of the Nile. That is how we fed the nation. That is the definition of Bethlehem, not a dry, deserty place where people will be starving. Bethlehem is who gave bread to the world. That's us.
Question.
You meant to say something?
Yeah, I was asking if you identify as an Israelite. You will say we are the firstborn, so?
Yeah, I'm using all those references there because these names, like Egypt, it wasn't Egypt, it was Cana. And Cana spread to what they call Canaan. But Cana was the original Egypt. The word Egypt is a Greek word.
We call it Cana.
Ethiopia is a Greek word. So all of those names that came, and we read it in the Bible, we think they are so legitimate and authentic. No, let us go back. We are Bantu people. You know, we were known by these names, Bantu, and some Mr. Kush, and some other names, because there were other ethnicities. But we are Bantu. Look at us, we are Bantu. They are the tall guys, dark-skinned guys, who, like in the Sudan and so. They are the Nilotic people by the Nile, Nilotic. That is how those groupings. The Hottentot are the Khoisan, that is down in the Kalahari Desert and so. They are the different type of ethnicities. But we are the Bantu. Okay? And you do some research and see what Bantu means. It correlates with Ubuntu. I am you, you are me. And all of these things. So we're talking the truth. What we're saying, we're not criticizing the book. I read the book from the time I knew myself going to school, church and Sunday school. I am interrogating the book and putting the book in the proper perspective that someone took it, and because of the linguistics which we kept, it is being revealed now that all the highest language will look down at the other archaic language, inferior language, and put the linguistics in its proper perspective. That's all we're saying.
Okay, sir.
Thanks for listening.
I appreciate that. And I often mention that when I'm on between Africa, Kalunji, Sister Henry, and Journey, it becomes theology. I did ask Reverend Pastor Kamabas to joining and help me out because I'm not as versed in the Bible as they would be. So it's an interesting point of view that was put forward by Pastor Kalunji, supported by Africa, that the narrative of the Jews being enslaved in Egypt did not happen. And we go straight to the phone lines. Call your live on voices. Okay, we were a bit slow on the uptake, so call if you have a chance. Please try to get back in. We got about 7 minutes before we come to the end of today's program. We would like to hear from you, so please try again. We had a wonderful program today. Okay, we go back to the phone lines. Call your live on voices. Good caller, you're live on the program.
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, the King. This is Journey here again.
You get back in. Go ahead.
The King.
So?
You know, to wait for a whole week to come back on this topic is it's torturing. Now,
You're
Rascalondi
persistent.
mentioned something about the enslavement. I want to tell Rascalongi, many things that is in the book, it can be taken as a metaphor. Now, let me say, I mentioned this earlier this morning when I said the parousia of the second coming of the Messiah will not happen. Let me repeat that. The parousia of the second coming of the Messiah will not happen. And why I say this? We are the ones who are in bondage today. We cannot speak about the second coming of Christ until we preach about our release from being in bondage. Because the book says, we were scattered by ship with chains around our neck. Now, when you search and you do your research and come up upon these people, whoever they are that was scattered by ship and taken to foreign land, when you find these people, you will find the chosen people. The chosen, the firstborn that your last caller mentioned. The firstborn. Anyone who do that research and come upon whoever this race of people that was taken from their land to foreign land by ship and with chains around their neck, then you will find the chosen people.
Where you find that text?
Sorry?
Where do you find that reading, that writing, that text?
What are you talking about?
That you just quoted.
Where
would I find that information, that particular text about where you find the people who were taken from the ships, scattered in foreign lands with rope around the necks, or chain around the necks?
Well, it's in the book. It's in the book, the king. It is in the book. I think it's in Deuteronomy.
Deuteronomy? Oh.
It is in the book of Deuteronomy. So whenever you find these people, and you look to the whole planet, do your research, and whenever you come upon who these people were, you would find those people are the chosen people, the firstborn. And let me say, those same people are you and me today. And again, the parousia of the Messiah's coming, we cannot speak about the second coming because we are the one have to preach about our release from where they have us today. The metaphor of the exodus of those people in Egypt, we are those people. Pharaoh, let my people go. We are saying to those who are ruling us today, let us go. Give us our space because they're in our space. They have colonized us. They have given us their God and their Messiah. And they have hidden our story from us. And now they have inserted themselves as the characters into our story. This is what we are saying, the King. Because we cannot, they also tell us that we must pray to a God in heaven. And look at this. Lay not your treasures upon earth where thieves and rust can enter, but in heaven. But they have put their treasure and all that they have exploited from us, they have it here on earth. And they tell us we must pray to a God in heaven. Heaven is in within us. Because we are looking up to the sky for a Messiah to return, and we are looking up to the sky for a heaven. Heaven is within us. Isn't that what the book says?
So is all a metaphor?
Yes, and it is our reality today. Because you remember the King, the book also says, and I mentioned it earlier, he will gather back up his people who were scattered back into the land of their forefathers. Life continues. What they broke us from was our spirituality. Spirit is life. It doesn't die. When Jesus was transfigured, Moses, who was dead, and Elias came back. The God that they give us is a God whose hand is washed in blood. Our God is a God of life.
I want to ask you a question.
The transfiguration of Jesus Christ proves that. He is a God of life. Because when Moses was dead, our God is not a God of death. It's a God of life. That's why Moses and Elias came back when Jesus was transfigured. And they are the antithesis of life.
Let me ask you a question, if I may.
Yes.
Right? I got a text from someone, and he writes, "Good afternoon. The biblical matter needs a panel. I suggest that you ask Pastor Cumberbatch, Pastor Ben Brown, and there's a number, and 2 others from the other side. Would you be interested in being one from the other side to join this panel for discussion?
I would have to do it whether Zoom or on phone, because my domestic affairs does not permit me to be in your studio.
Okay. I'll keep you in mind should this ever comes be a possibility.
But Pastor Cumberbatch, hear his views. Let him take up.
I'm just saying that somebody's asking this. They're asking, is it possible? Some appealing, would you be willing to be one of those persons?
And he have called in, so let him call in.
This is not from Pastor Cumberbatch. This is somebody's suggestion or recommending that the panel be convened, not convened, but discuss it.
I just want us, are you there?
I'm here, I'm listening to you.
I want us to raise our thinking, the King. The Bible is our story. There's fallacies in it, there's politics in it. The Church of England, the Catholic Church, and the Vatican, they have the blueprint of our story. And that is why they have inserted themselves in it as the characters, and they have hid our story from us. I mentioned Lord Macaulay's letter. Generation, you don't like when I go back there, the King. I'm trying not to go back, but it has to come up. Generation
we got 2 minutes before we end the show today, so you got to wrap it up for me rapidly.
Man, come back tomorrow then. Come back tomorrow. I'll deal. Come back
I understand you tried
tomorrow.
earlier, but the time is the time, and I do have to honor the studio's time and not go over this. We got about 2 minutes for wrapping up. I want to thank all the callers who were part of the program today. I want to thank our guests, Mrs. Patrice Offray. She came to speak about a book that deals with the healing process after an affair. You know, infidelity in relationships and how she would have lived that herself, and the way she's reached out to assist others by giving them of our own personal experience and helping them to understand that the commitment is there, but you have to make certain sacrifices. And so that was lovely. We had some good review from Dr. Rollins. What she said earlier was, "Hi Socrates, what an excellent program this morning. Congrats." And then we heard from Brenda. She said, no, what she said earlier. Awesome guest. And then we had our regular callers, Journey, Africa, Sister Stephen Henry, and Russ Kalungi, and others. We want to thank you for your contribution to the program. It's all about your perspective, and we look forward to hearing from you from time to time. My name is Socrates. We're at the end of today's episode. I want to wish you peace, love, the best of health, much better tomorrow, and hopefully we can have or continue the dialogue next Monday. Thank you very much. I'm out of here.